Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Now let's get straight into it. So, what do we have before us? Behold, it says Mariah Carey confirms her mom Patricia and sister Allison both died on same day. My heart is broken. So, this is a little bit more on the low hanging fruit side. However, I did want to talk about a few different things with this Mariah Carey mother and sister dying in the same day situation here. Um, Again, with it being low hanging fruit, it's really obvious what's happening here. What's the odds that you have, someone famous like this, Mariah Carey, her mom and her sister dying on the same day after her sister, is known to have exposed uh, Mariah Carey's mother and Mariah Carey herself of being involved into satanic rituals, which this is not my words. This is just literally what Mariah Carey's sister said herself. I'm sure most of y'all are aware of this by this point. But with that being said, there are a few things I want to talk about within this. And everything I'm saying, by the way, is just for educational purposes and just my opinion before we begin. But anyways, let's just jump right on in. So again, I read the title. It says, I appreciate everyone's love and support and respect for my privacy during this impossible time. Says Mariah. Yeah. I don't know. These people just be, they say everyone grieves differently, and I guess so. But these people always, well, I'm going to say for the most part, they move like it just don't affect them like that as far as these celebrities when they lose people like this. But one of the main things I want to talk about is how important it is to really understand what's going on around you and not take this as a light things for these brothers, for the brothers and sisters that's in the knowledge. Because a lot of y'all see this and you'll see somebody like me talking about this and you just like, whatever, it is what it is. The world just wicked. It's just Esau and all of that. But it's important to know what you're looking at because some things are not as blatant and obvious as this. It's important because once you have a spiritual understanding of how this world works, you become even more detached to it. And when you see different things going on, like when you see Christians just completely engulfed into Christianity and different, our friends and our family that just won't let it go, no matter what you say, you start to understand it's all spiritual. And when you understand Job 9:24, that this world has been given into the hand of the wicked, and you understand what the wicked looks like in the different gods that these people worship, and you just start to see things on a whole different level. And once you're able to do that, you don't look at the wickedness of this world as just racism, because most brothers, that's all they really talk about. Esau, just wicked. He doing this to Jake, and that's all Negroes really want to talk about. But when you see this stuff and you understand what you're looking at, you really understand what wickedness actually is. It's not just, slavery, which obviously is wicked. I'm not taking from that or saying it's not wicked. All right. I'm not, don't take it the wrong way. All I'm saying is that that's not the height of the wickedness that, the so-called white man or whatever has done to our people and has done to this world. It's a much, much deeper level. When you see that we have these ritualistic sacrifices that are still going on today, okay, that is spoken about in the scriptures. And that's how the whole world revolves. So when you see that, again, you don't get caught up in the different lies and like a Cat Williams come out and he's saying this and that, you know that he's also a part of this same system. So you just don't pay him no attention. Because a lot of y'all, man, we just one person away from getting lured into the wrong direction. And let me say, it don't even have to be like an entertainer. You don't know who is compromised. Could be a camp leader, could be just a regular person. I don't know. You never know. You don't know who's compromised or what their agenda is. So again, when you understand these things, or at least you have a better understanding of these things, you avoid those type of pitfalls. At least more than likely you will avoid those type of pitfalls because you see things on a spiritual level. Okay. So it's not as something as simple as, oh, it's just wicked. Oh yeah, they sacrifice folks, and then you just don't pay no attention. No, you really want to understand these things, or at least on a little bit deeper level. You have to understand their doctrine at least a little bit. You know, the Most High said in Psalms 82:6 that we were gods, meaning we were judges. And to be a proper judge, you have to know good and evil. Any judge, any righteous judge, he also knows all of the streets slang and terms. So that way, when it's said to him, he know exactly what he looking at. So things just don't get past him. You can't say, oh, we flipping a bird and we moving a brick. They know exactly what a brick is, what the measurement is, or whatever. Even when they come up with new stuff, they be knowing it. You know, cops on the streets be knowing different street terms, different slang, because they have to be able to fully do their job, or else they're going to get caught slipping. You know, somebody say something in front of them, you know, they need to know exactly what's going on, or just having your ears to the street. So it's the same way on a spiritual level. You have to understand these things, the left-hand path, at least to a certain extent, you know, so you can know what you're looking at. Like these things, like this right here, it's not something you just want to brush by. I'm not saying it's like important to, to your spiritual walk. I'm just saying it's something, it's something to take a deeper look at. All right. It says Mariah Carey's mom, Patricia, and sister Allison died on the same day over the weekend. People can confirm. Mariah Carey says, my heart is broken that I've lost my mother this past weekend. Sadly, in a tragic turn of events, my sister lost her life on the same day. And as we're going to see, they don't even say what happened. I don't believe they say what happened to either one of them. I'm sure since Mariah Carey is 55, I'll have to look at each one of the sister and the Mariah Carey's mother's age. But I'm sure Mariah Carey's mother is in her 80s. At least she was. She's gone now. She was in her 80s, 90s or something. But, that's more expected. But her sister also, I think her sister was older than her, around the same age. So I know they're not spring chickens, but at the same time, we just not going to say what happened to them. A tragic turn of events. We can't get a car wreck or none. These people, they don't even care anymore. They don't have to give an explanation. I think before 10, 20 years ago, when they did these type of sacrifices, a lot of people really wanted to know what happened. Like they would really try to cover it up. Now they just be like, it's undisclosed. We ain't gonna say, when they commit these sacrifices, at least in my opinion, these are sacrifices. All right. One thing to keep in mind is it's interesting to me. Let me tell you this too. Sometimes this goes back to what I said about being a judge and being able to see like different terminology or different things that the cult is saying, the left-hand path is saying, and not letting it slip past you, because you could be, missing something that somebody else could see just right here in front of you, because these people, they, in this left-hand doctrine, what they do is symbolize, or they communicate through symbolisms and things of that nature. Okay, that's how they're able to hide in plain sight. And that's how we were all blinded before we came into the knowledge of the truth. We were all blinded because it's hidden right there in your face. And how you hide something right there in somebody's face, you code it. Even on the right-hand path. Why is it that I can have a Bible and somebody else can have a Bible, but they can't read or understand nothing that's going on? Even though they can read a language, they cannot interpret what's going on because it's hidden to them. Okay. Now, something as simple as this, her saying, my heart is broken. I just literally thought of this as I was right before I was about to start recording. Mariah Carey is 55. I understand that. Excuse me, not understand, but it just hit me that Bronny James was a 55th pick. He also had, he's known for having a heart attack not too long ago that almost derailed his career. And they're using the word heart. You just never know. Something as simple as that. The word heart, excuse me, not the word heart, but heart is actually a symbolism for the boy god Hippocrates, or if you're familiar with like Cupid, okay, that's what Cupid, the little demon, that little baby demon that you always see during Valentine's Day, that was taken from a Greek god known as a boy god, or the child god known as Hippocrates. In the scriptures, you will see him listed in Ezekiel 8 and 14 as Tammuz. Okay, because you have the same gods that are listed in by different names depending on the mythology or in the region. So again, the Greeks may call the same god this, the Romans may call the same god this, where the Babylonians call the same god this, so on and so forth. All the different nations pretty much worship the same gods. They just go by different names. Like Hippocrates is just literally Horus in the Kemetic or the Egyptian mythology. Okay. So it's something to keep in mind. I mean, let's read this. What I have on the screen is the two Babylons. I go to this very often when I'm researching these types of things. It says here, when Baal, however, because we really can read a lot more than this. It's just that here on this specific channel, I go into it a little bit, but I know that a lot of people viewing these videos have not been fully exposed to this information. So it might just, you're going to find it either unnecessary or it's just going to kind of fly over your head because you're like, man, what is this? Y'all started talking about scriptures. Now his brother talking about this, but eventually I'm going to get y'all there because, again, it is important to know what's going on anyways. It says, when Baal, however, was born again as a child, Baal is pretty much another one of the main deities that they worship. And Baal, I believe that's also a Kemetic deity, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, new incarnation, Nimrod or Baal. Anyways, when Baal, that's one of the goat-headed guys. Anyways, when Baal, however, was born again as a child, he was, as we have seen, represented as an incarnation of the sun. Therefore, to indicate his connection with the fiery and burning sun, the Sacred Heart was frequently represented as a heart of flame. So the Sacred Heart of Rome is actually worshipped as a flaming heart, as may be seen on the rosaries devoted to that worship. The so-called rosary is really just a representation of Hippocrates. That's pretty much what it's saying here. Okay, because you see people with these rosaries all the time. It's one of those symbols that especially the Catholics use in Christianity that's really pagan, but again, hiding in plain sight. And that's another thing, real quick note. When you understand more and more about this stuff, something like a rosary, you start to understand that it's pagan instead of it's just something they do. You start seeing that nothing is just meaningless. Nothing is just, a coincidence. Okay, nothing is a coincidence. Nothing that these people do is a coincidence. And almost anything you can think of that the Christian church does that you think is like a Lent or something. Well, a lot of people know Lent is pagan. But different things like that you think they may just be doing, it's just based on misunderstanding. No, it's not based on a misunderstanding. It's not just happenstance. It's not just a coincidence or just something that this man created out of nowhere. It's always attached to a pagan deity or the worship of a pagan deity. Okay. Or something involving the worship of a pagan deity. So when you understand that, you see how wicked it really is. And then you start to see that it's a spiritual thing. It's spiritual. When people don't come to the understanding of the scriptures, you're trying to talk to them in a carnal sense, but The Most High hasn't changed their spirit. Therefore, they will not get it no matter what your words are. Those brothers be getting frustrated all the time trying to teach people, and you're not understanding that you're not going to turn away their spirit from the left-hand path unless the Most High want them to. There's nothing you can say. Like a lot of y'all, dang near just complain all day about people not understanding why people don't get it yet. Well, because it's meant to be this way, nigga. Dang. Look, man, I get frustrated seeing so many brothers that get frustrated when our people don't get it. I mean, it's just, it baffles me that it baffles y'all that people don't understand this. It's not as simple as, oh, well, don't you see this world is wicked? This ain't the truth. The Christian church lying. Tithing is not real. Like, you can't just tell people that and they just change their ways. It's not how it works. Okay? At least not how it works more times than not. Again, and I'm not even saying that you shouldn't say these things. I'm not saying don't teach. I'm not saying that it's pointless. All I'm saying is that they have to have not only a physical rebirth or a physical understanding of what's going on around them. It also has to be spiritual, what the scriptures call, even it's called, not reincarnation. It's called regeneration in the scriptures. Okay. The refreshing of your spirit. All right. Paul talked about it all throughout the quote unquote New Testament. That's what he was talking about. Of course, coming into the knowledge. But what does that mean? It means that your spirit also is changed, not just your physical mind, your carnal understanding of what's going on around you. Again, there's nothing we can do about that unless the Most High wants to put that spirit on somebody. There's nothing we could do. So that's exactly why we just plant the seeds and let the Most High take control from there. That's all you really can do. So, these things have a hold on people. There's certain spirits that we just cannot see that's at play, So, and that's why, another thing brothers complain about all the time is our women and why are our women all over the place? Because they have certain spirits on them. A lot of them, they really can't help it. That's the society. We are in Satan's kingdom. Do you not understand that? Okay, we're in Satan's kingdom. Most people in this kingdom are going to be satanic, essentially, or Luciferians. That's just how this works. Okay, literally most people on planet Earth are Luciferians, whether they understand it or not, whether they are doing it on purpose or not, whether they claim it or not, whether they know it or not, understand it or not. Okay, so again, this is the main reason why I'm doing this, because I really wanted to bring out these points more than anything else. Because again, this is very obvious to me, a ritualistic sacrifice. But again, I had other points I really wanted to bring out. But anyways, let me continue to read this. It says, of what use then is it to say that the Sacred Heart which Rome worships is called by the name of Jesus, when not only is a devotion given to a material image borrowed from the worship of a Babylonian Antichrist, but when the attributes ascribed to that of quote unquote Jesus are not the attributes of the living and loving Savior, but the genuine attributes of the ancient Molech or Baal. So both of those deities, Molech and Baal, are in the scriptures. So again, you see these same themes over and over and over. But again, the heart, you could keep reading about that here in this chapter in the two Babylonians. The two Babylons. The heart was a symbol of Hippocrates, or A.K. Horus, okay, the boy god. And again, it is interesting that LeBron James Jr., also known as Bronny James, he had a heart attack, okay, and he is the son, like it says, the incarnation of the son. And remember, even LeBron James, he said, I'm the son. Remember that? Matter of fact, for another lesson that I got pulled up, And LeBron James, he said, I am the son. Just know that I'm the son. Stay on forever, and his son, okay, represents in this case Hippocrates, okay, the son of the sun god, the reincarnation. And this is even fitting for him because he literally has the same name. Okay. But anyways, for some of y'all, that's going to make sense. But for others, you might be wondering what in the world I'm talking about. But it's okay. We're going to do more on this. It's all right. All right. And then back to this article by People. Mariah Carey says, I feel blessed that I was able to spend the last week with my mom before she passed, as Mariah. I appreciate everyone's love and support and respect for my privacy during this impossible time. No other details, including Patricia and Allison's causes of death, are known at this time. No, it's known. Y'all just not telling us. So it's definitely known. You don't have just two deaths like that, and we just not telling. No, most of the time when you have these celebrities, like they gonna reveal exactly how someone close to them died, but they ain't trying to cover it up. Now back to this. This is Mariah Carey's sister, Allison Carey. This is her. Well, it looks like, yeah, she's older. She's definitely older than Mariah Carey. And Mariah Carey is 55. Okay, yeah, Patricia, Mariah Carey's mother, was 83 at the time. At the time of this testimonial here. But you should watch this. I'm not even going to play the whole thing. You could just literally look this up and listen to it. She talks about how her mama was involved and she had her performing sexual acts at the age of 10. And there's another one out here on YouTube too as well, where Allison Carey is talking about the ritualistic sexual acts that her mother performed, or had Mariah Carey perform, and her that she had to perform. Again, these things you could just think it's just, inconsequential, but it's not, because too many people have had these same testimonies. Okay. Again, these are things, speaking of teaching our people, these are the things you can bring out that some people are interested in. Like my rib, for example. One of the ways that I was able to communicate with her about the wickedness of this world is talking about these types of things with her, and it made a lot more sense to her. And then we started talking about the scriptures and all relaying it together, and it was all coming together for her. So that's how she started to gain an understanding. So these are different things you can talk about, and so you don't have to talk about slavery all the time. And that's the only thing that you could. I ain't say no the whole thing. I'm just messing with y'all, but so that's not just the base of, when you're talking about the wickedness of this world. It's just racism is always, Esau doing this, Esau doing that. It's deeper. It's, there's more stuff going on than that, y'all. I promise. So speaking of this, so I haven't touched on this yet. Why do they do these things? Why, ritualistic sacrifices? Why child abuse? Why would they do that? It goes back to, at the time I'm recording this, the last lesson I recorded, I talked about MK Ultra. Okay. Again, so why would you, why would you sexually abuse a child? At least according, these are just all my opinions. Why would you sexually abuse a child? Why would Allison Carey make those type of accusations and others make those type of accusations or allegations all the time? The different quote unquote celebrities. Why do they say these things? Or why is it happening? Well, a lot of times it's a form of implementing mind control on a subject. Okay. That is what is known, or at least one of the programs that is known as MK Ultra. All right. Now, this book here by Kathy O'Brien, called Transformation of America, True Life Story of a Mind Control Slave. If you pick up this book, I have it right here next to me. you will be able to see certain things that, again, it's really irrefutable evidence, at least in my opinion, of the, that MK Ultra is not only ever was a thing, because that, again, that cannot be disputed. Matter of fact, in this book, she has plenty of different articles. I don't know if it was her that put this in this, but she has plenty of different articles, congressional hearings, so on and so forth, of proof that it was a thing, or is a thing, in my opinion, right now. But outside of that, if you read this, man, this book is extremely graphic. Like the first, well, not the first chapter, but like when she first starts speaking on her own experience, it's wild. Like that very first page, you like, what? She's talking about her father. If you pick it up, you're gonna see what I'm saying. It's worth a read, even if you just like glance through it. It's wild. And she name drops a lot of people, like including like Bill Clinton, a lot of different politicians, a lot of people she name dropped, and nobody ended up suing her either. So I mean, it's just something to think about, right? Why did nobody, come down with a defamation lawsuit or something like that on them? But anyways, when you read this book, or it's just one book, of many different sources, but if you were to read this book, you would also have a better understanding of why they do this. Or at least you'll have an example of one other person this was done to. So you'll start to see that it's not just a game. It's not something just people like me just randomly saying. It's an actual thing that they do. And I have no doubt that Mariah Carey is an MK Ultra subject or a monarch. She is a initiate or a subject of the Monarch program, the MK Ultra Monarch program. Okay. These people are hand selected to be famous for a specific purpose. Okay. And mainly, as we see with her mother, that at least that was the allegations of Allison Carey, their parents are normally involved, especially when you have somebody like a Mariah Carey that's been famous for a long time. Again, they were hand selected. So the parents are a part of some alphabet agency or some higher up, some organization, and then they willingly put their kids through this, willingly. Again, the more you know about this, you see how wicked this world really is. And it's not just, I'm talking about police brutality all the time or something like that. You see how deep this thing really goes and how wicked this world is and why the Most High has to end this thing. All right. This is the principalities. These are the powers, the rulers of the darkness of this world. This is what, at least one of the things that this is referring to, the spiritual wickedness in high places that Ephesians 6:12 talks about. All right. A lot of this that's going on the back end that's not as obvious right now in this current time, but that's going to end up coming out. That's really going to shake up the world. Okay. Once people realize this is actually a thing, it's not a quote unquote conspiracy theory. Okay. But yeah, this is attached to the different pagan deities that they worship. That's why they do these different sacrifices. All right. Just like we have feast days on the right hand side, we have a dietary law. They have their different laws. They have their different feasts. And just how we had animal sacrifices, they have human sacrifices. They have different ways to worship their deities. Okay. All right. Proverbs 11:1. The Most High requires a just balance, right? So, that's why they do these things. If you're wondering, I'm just tying this all together so you understand that I'm not just here just saying these people got sacrificed just to say they got sacrificed. That's what a lot of people say. They'll see this, they got sacrificed, but they're not tying it to anything. So it's really nothing. If you're not tying it to a spiritual aspect, you're really just saying something just to say it. That's how you really bring it together, when you truly understand how it ties together to the scriptures or on a spiritual level. All right. Which all goes back to the scriptures. All right. Both the right and the left hand path understanding. It all ties back to the scriptures because it's all there. But anyways, that was the main points I really wanted to make. I have a few more tabs here pulled up, but like the movie Eyes Wide Shut. This is another movie you could watch so you can see how these different rituals are played out. This movie here, which came out in 1999 or 666, it really breaks it down, like what goes on behind the curtains. Okay. I caught this on Netflix. I had never seen it. I caught it on Netflix like last year. I think it was on Netflix or Hulu, one of those two. I had never seen it before. And I'm telling y'all, this is another one that's it's wild. Like, brace yourself. If you don't watch this around children or anything like that, kind of brace yourself if you watch this movie. And speaking of sacrifices, Stanley Kubrick, the director, he died shortly after making this film. So, was he sacrificed as well? I would say so, but that's just my opinion. This is another movie to watch, so if you want a better understanding of how things happen behind the curtains, they bring it out here in this movie. You have to understand, when they make all these movies, they're not pulling these things out of nowhere. Most movies are not, as much as you want to believe, they're not just new ideas. Nothing is new under the sun. They're not just making up stuff. Like, all the different superheroes are based on pagan deities. They're just reimaginations of different pagan deities. Like a Batman, there's a Bat God. Spider-Man, there's a Spider God. Like, all these different things are all centered around pagan deities. Again, the more you understand that, you'll see, oh shoot, it's a lot deeper than what I thought. This world is way more wicked than I really ever thought of. Like, one thing that hit me the other day, and I was tripping, and I never even thought of it this way. I was thinking about the different planets, and I'm like, I know that, planetary worship is tied to pagan deities, but it hit me. I was like, I think every planet, no matter of fact, not I think every planet is a pagan deity's name. Neptune, Jupiter, you can find that in the scriptures. Mars is the god of war. Pluto is a pagan deity as well. Especially Saturn. Saturn is, of course, where we get Saturday from. All right. All the different planetary names are all derived from pagan deities. So why is that? Because, the ancients used to be able to look up and see these planets, before you even had telescopes and all that. And then they would ascribe different attributes to them and they would worship them. Okay. And that's where you get a lot of these pagan gods from. Just man's creations, but it's always been a thing since the times of Adam. Okay. And again, you have different attributes of these pagan deities, but all of the names of the planets are based on pagan gods. And we just we just act like it's nothing, just like every day of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, of course, Sunday, all after pagan gods as well. Thursday, I mean, that's a whole nother lesson, but y'all get it. Monday, after the moon goddess, I should say. So again, when you put all these things together, you start to see, dang, it runs deep. Everything is pagan. Everything is in that. Again, that's why the average person, they can't understand it, because they've been just flooded, inundated with all of these different pagan ideologies that it's hard to escape it, because they're stuck on the spiritual level. And the Most High he's the only one that can bring you out of this. Because if you're born in this world, like you're born into a pagan system. You get it? Like that's your doctrine. You have to be pulled out of it. Like, nobody is born in the knowledge. Like, you have to be pulled out of it, because that's the root of this world. You understand? And you get hit with it so much. That's how they so crafty with it, because it's just all around you. So Like you can't escape it until Yahweh shall come back. We cannot escape it from a standpoint of it being around you. You can go to a different country if you want to. Nowhere is safe. But anyways, that's really my main point. Obviously, that's what happened here. Mariah Carey, her sister, her mother were all involved with these different satanic rituals. Not according to my words, according to Allison Carey. So that's her allegations, not mine. Allison Carey makes, certain allegations about the satanic rituals. And then years later, she did say this, this video is only 4 years old, but she did say this years ago. It wasn't just 4 years ago, but, years later, she's, just suddenly killed, undisclosed reasons, and her mother both killed. So were these things directly connected? I would say so. And again, it's deeper meanings to this. It's important to understand exactly why these things are happening. So that way, when you're breaking it down to people, you can tell them, you can bring these things up. Also, you see it for yourself so you don't get confused, or you think certain things are just happenstance, or you think it's just not important, or you think, oh, that's just that's nothing. Let's talk about that ain't the scriptures, brother. I want to stay in the Bible. It's all rooted in the Bible. This is in the Bible. Okay, well, you know what you're looking at. It's just that you don't have to understand, not that it's not there. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Lord willing, this was edifying. At least gave you something to think about. Until the next time, I bid everyone a mighty shalom.